Rule number 1, always have fun. Rule number 2, always have fun. Rule number 3, refer back to rule number 1. Shout out to Brad Pitt, the guy that played Hulk from the Incredible Hulk movie and Fight Club. Incredible movie. That's the right way to collect comics. That is the only way to collect comics. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Now let's go into some context about that. I'm fired up. I'm so fired up, I'm skipping my lunch. I'm a welder by day. That's why I wear this funny little hat you see me wearing. And I'm skipping my lunch to make this video in my car with the AC running, giving you the greatest bottom tier content from the most bottom tier collector to you. And this video is up to you what you want to do with it. It's all my opinion, but I think it's an opinion a lot of people should hear. I saw a video the other day. Granted, this video is a year old, but I feel like the content is still relevant. I feel like the two people that collaborated in this video still feel this way. And they talked about mistakes that novice collectors make, which really put it under a broad umbrella. Put a lot of the community under this broad umbrella. And they meant it this way. They weren't talking to new collectors. They were talking to all of us that I feel, in my opinion, they felt better than. They were calling us novice collectors. And excuse my French, but they shit on the whole buy what you love phrase. I understand the context of what they mean, but it is still their opinion. It is still their point of view. And they kept reiterating the right way to collect. And I watched Journo's Comics and Pop Culture's Friday Night Live stream, and it coincided perfectly. I mean, I watched it within... He popped on with his Friday Night Live stream within hours of me seeing this video. And the theme of his video was, do not tell me how to collect my comics. And that was his theme the whole night. And I want to reiterate that. Don't tell me how to collect comics. I'm not going to tell you, and you don't tell me how to collect my comics. But I will tell you this. There's a right way and a wrong way to collect comic books. And I'm going to go into that. The right way to collect comic books is the way you, all of you watching this video, deem most fun. The reason you got into this hobby, whether it's to read good stories, to collect comic books, be it for the art or the interior storylines, or to speculate, those evil speculators and investors. A lot of us attack them all the time. Or whether you're a mix of all of them. I myself consider myself a hybrid, a mix of all of them. But those are essentially the 4 types of collectors in this hobby, I feel like. And none of them are wrong for being who they are and doing what they feel is most fun. Now, why is that the right way to collect? Because if you're having fun, you're going to continue to stay in the hobby. There's mental benefits to having fun, so there is literally health benefits to having fun and bringing yourself joy. They say laughter is the best medicine, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. So have fun with the hobby. Whether you're investing and speculating, I get so mad at those speculators and investors. Whether you're collecting and hoarding, that's such a dirty term in the eyes of these elite collectors that view us all as novices. Whether you hoard your comics, whether you only read, and move on to the next story, or whether you're a mix of all of them, keep having fun. What would be the opposite, the wrong way to collect comic books? Would be to not have fun. And why is that the wrong way to go about this hobby? Because if you're not having fun, you may or may not be giving yourself grief and stress. That's all relative to who you are and why you're not having fun, and what you deem as a stressful situation. But there may or may not be some negative health benefits to not having fun in this hobby. And if you're not having fun, you're becoming a cynical person. Usually, you're not going to be fun to interact with. People are not going to want to be around you. They're not going to want to have conversations with you. You could possibly feel overwhelmed by the hobby if you're not having fun. And ultimately, what I don't want to see in this hobby, and it happens every day, I understand, for different reasons. But if you're not having fun, it could lead to the ultimate negative side effect of not having fun, and that is getting out of comic books. And I don't want to see that. As somebody who's been in this hobby, and I've ebbed and flowed, I've taken breaks, and I've come back to this hobby with a renewed fervor in the last year or two, and I'm having fun again, and I'm doing me. And while worrying about other people and their opinions triggered this video, I wholeheartedly do not and will not judge other collectors, no matter what you're in the hobby for. And full disclosure, there are things I can't stand about this hobby. That being one of them. Elitism. People who think they're better than you. People that want to tell you how to do something in a hobby that can be done your way. There's no defined set of rules, and this isn't the laws of physics. Okay, are you feeling me here? This is collecting comics. There are no defined rules. There are good ideas, and you can get burned for breaking these good ideas and these good rules to have. I don't want to say rules. These good ways to carry yourself in the hobby. But again, it is up to you how you want to collect, spec, read, or do all of it. And circling back, I do want to disclose things I can't stand about this hobby. And that, we already made that first point about the elitism. Another thing I can't stand, the idea of people that turn in multiple, and I'm not talking 1, 2, 3 issue, people that buy 25, 30 copies and they send it into CGC for a screening, and whatever hits a 9.8, that's going to get slabbed, and that's the book that goes into their PC. Personally, I'm not ever going to do that. I cannot stand that. The thought of doing that with my collection, it just feels like a stale, cold way to experience the hobby. If that's you, if that's what you do, and you're about the 9.8, go for it. But for me, this hobby ain't about a 9.8 slab. Point blank, period. And I also can't stand... I was personally affected by this. I'm not going to name the store. I've said this already. If you've seen other videos, you've been following me for a while. There's a store that is in my area, so it's within roughly an hour drive, more like 30 to 45 minutes depending on traffic. And they speculated against me. They did. And I want to bring context to that. I had a pull list with this LCS. Sorry, I'm blanking here. I've hit the rage mode, so it's hard for me to gather my thoughts. They would never give me cover A if cover A had any kind of spec value. And the final straw that broke the camel's back and caused me, I did something dirty to this LCS to pay them back. I'm sick of it. Was Batman New 52 issue 40 with the really cool cover of Batman fighting a dragon Joker, and he's trying to stab it with some kind of staff. Looks like a religious staff or something. Anybody that's been in the hobby for any amount of years, or anybody that has any kind of extended fandom of the character Batman or Joker, you know this cover. It was cover A. It was not a 1-in-25 ratio variant. That book was on my sub list. And what did I get? Cover B. That's trash. That is trash to me. Now, on one hand, you could say, well, maybe they ran out of cover A. They just couldn't order enough. It's bullcrap. You know who is subscribed to what on your sub boxes. You do, unless you're a poorly ran LCS. And this LCS may be poorly ran. But in my opinion, there's no excuse. They should have had enough cover A's for me in my pool box. It should not have run out. That should not be a thing. But what really actually happened, I got my pull list, and I'm talking the day this issue comes out. I'm here the day this issue comes out. I'm not here a week, a month. I'm here the day this issue comes out. And I look up, and cover A is on their spec wall. And I call it a spec wall because the store does speculate. They put brand new comic books up on this wall at marked up prices. That cover A, Batman number 40, was on that spec wall the day it came out, and I check it out with cover damn B or cover damn C for cover price. It's bullcrap. Bullshit. The only thing smellier than horse shit is bullshit. I love saying that because it's so true. You should always respect the pull list. You should always respect the pull list. And that is another thing I cannot stand with this hobby, is an LCS that will not protect your pull list. That is a sacred bond between customer and business. And it should always be respected. It should be a top priority of any business, is supreme customer satisfaction, because they're paying your bills. So, full disclosure, those are things I can't stand about this hobby. I'm not perfect. I just want to reiterate, I'm never going to tell you how to collect unless you're not having fun. If you're not having fun, you need to reevaluate what you're doing. Because again, you could exit the hobby, and I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof of that. I went into this hobby trying to be an expert, trying to look like somebody that knew what they were doing. One of the first purchases I ever made, in fact, the first book I ever put in my hand on the day I first stepped into a comic book store, was a Silver or Bronze Age Batman book I purchased for $12. Never opened it up, never read it. I think I lost $12 on it because I gave it away for store credit. I was sick of looking at that book. And I did that because I was concerned about other people and what they thought of me. I didn't want to look like a rookie. Sound familiar? Sound like something I've been talking about this whole video? Well, this attitude, I quickly dropped that attitude. I quickly got out of buying books that were way overpriced, because it can get expensive in this hobby, that's for sure. Trying to gather my thoughts here. Excuse the pause. So, I was getting into things I didn't care about. I was buying physical issues, stuff I didn't care about. At first, in the early days of collecting, it was stuff I was trying, and a lot of it I did end up liking. Like All-Star Western New 52, some of Batman New 52, not all of it. I got burnt out towards the end. But I was not having fun with certain aspects of this hobby. For instance, when Death of Wolverine came out, I loved the 4-issue miniseries by Charles Soule and drawn by Scott McNiven. Became huge fans of them because of that miniseries. And so I went all out. I bought all the after storyline tie-ins. The Wolverines, there was a Deadpool, Captain America tie-in, there was a Wolverine and the X-Men tie-in issue. I bought it all. I was all in on that. And very early into it, I did not care about any of it. I was not having fun reading it. It was trash. Why was I reading it? I placed getting to the end of the storyline over having fun. Around this time, DC dropped an event, Convergence. This was the time Lobo was kind of out of the spotlight at this point, and I was kind of desperate to keep reading books, and so I latched on to Convergence, and I thought, since my guy isn't getting the love I feel he deserves, he's not in as many books as I would like, I'm going to expand my horizons and follow the broader universe. And I got on the Convergence. I thought it was trash. In my own opinion, I thought Convergence was trash. And apparently a lot of other people did too, because it ended up in the bargain bins. It's 2021. That event is 5 or 6 years old now. It's still in bargain bins. I wasn't having fun, and I got burnt out. I was reading so much garbage. I was paying for stuff. I was working very hard for this money, and I was paying for books I did not care about. I was not having fun. And what happened? What happened when I decided I don't enjoy this hobby anymore? I got out. Roughly about 2017, I was down to buying only Lobo appearances. I didn't even have a pull list anymore. I screwed that LCS for things I've already mentioned. I never canceled my box, and I just let them carry that box for a while until they got tired of fooling with me and finally deleted my box. I was just so ill and bitter at that LCS that I know that screws an LCS, and I would never do that just for the heck of it, just for being lazy. But I had such bad blood with them that I decided that's how I was going to get revenge on them. But revenge is never the answer, kids. Don't pay people back. It's not worth it in the end. So yeah, I got out of the hobby. And between 2017 and roughly 2020, I didn't do anything but buy Lobo appearances, and I went on like 2 to 4 trips a year to buy comics. And that was it. I think maybe I was spending $100 a year on comic books at this point. I knew I wanted to get back in at some point, and I have since then. But I got out, and I don't want to see other people go through what I went through. If you're not having fun, move on to something else. Quit reading those books. Cut your losses. Okay, I bought these books. Maybe I can flip them on eBay, or put them in an Instagram live auction, or maybe I'm going to a store that buys and sells comics. Maybe I can bring a stack of these books I don't care about, like I've been doing the past couple of years, and get store credit for it. And get something back. And move on. Read something that does interest you. Maybe consider trying these books out digitally, or getting the trades. There's ways to stay in the hobby and continue having fun. It doesn't have to be about X or Y or Z. It can be anything you make it out to be. And that's the point I want to close with. I want to tie this all back together. Have fun. Rule number 1, always have fun. Rule number 2, always have fun. Rule number 3, revert back to rule number 1. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I was fired up today. I hope I wasn't too angry at Hulk Smash on this video. I hope I gave an opinion that you may or may not agree with, but at least you understand and can respect. It's how I feel. I feel like we need to quit focusing on other people and focusing on ourselves and our collections and our goals and what makes us happy and what we can do to reach those goals and obtain those books and read those stories.